Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we can have a look at the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we are going to see very changeable conditions with the westerly flow finally returning. You can see in the live radar at the moment we do have a kind of fragmented area of rain across England at the moment. This is a cold front bringing in the fresher Atlantic air for all. So from now on, the next 5 days, it is looking like temperatures won't be getting much higher than the low 20s, maybe 23, 24 at best, as we all do see that fresher Atlantic air moving in. As we head into next week, we remain with that pattern, but things could get a little more interesting towards the end of next week as we do start to see a potential stormy pattern starting to develop. Now, I have spoken about this a lot in the past few videos, but we have got a hurricane out in the North Atlantic, or towards the Caribbean at the moment, heading towards Bermuda, Hurricane Ernesto. And although we aren't going to see any major impacts from that system, we're not going to be seeing those hurricane winds. We could get caught up with the remnants of that system. Now, we have seen some runs showing a direct hit from the remnants of that system, and we've seen other runs showing it powering the jet stream and powering North Atlantic lows. Now, over the last couple of days, it has been mixing, and today we're starting to see a bit more of a trend that it's going to be more powering the jet stream than necessarily a direct hit from those remnants. So it could be going pretty unsettled and stormy, at least for the time of year, towards the second half of next week with some widespread rain. And probably the most notable thing will be the pickup in winds. It could get very blustery out there indeed, as the pressure does look like it could drop pretty low out in the North Atlantic. So do remember, if you enjoy videos which you like, and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. As I said, if we start on the live radar, you can see this fragmented line of rain, and that is that cold front sweeping through. Still mild to the south and the east, and it has been muggy across England today, but with this rain and cloud moving through, light and patchy, and it should be clearing by Friday morning. I'm recording this through Thursday evening, so by Friday morning it should have completely cleared, and we're all in that fresh air. So you probably will feel quite a big change into Friday, as we do see quite a bit cooler, and a lot of that humidity will have dropped. Now, if you look at the temperatures, you can see quite a stark contrast across much of England. In the south and east, look at those, more oranges with muggy conditions. Further north and westwards, a lot more blues mixing in, so temperatures quite a bit fresher, back into the high single digits or low double digits, so much fresher in the north and the west, and that is what we are going to be seeing widely through Friday into the weekend. Now, if you have a look at the latest UKV, if we do start on the precipitation and then we'll run on to the temperatures, you can see the cloud and rain clearing southwards and eastwards over the coming hours, and then you can see as we head into Friday afternoon, a pretty dry day, quite a lot of sunshine, but you can see that it will be fresher with that westerly flow. So really quite pleasant, looks very warm from the radar with minimal cloud and rain, but it probably won't actually be all too warm because of the fresher air. As we move into Saturday, similar conditions, a bit more cloud around, but very similar, dry with a brief ridge of high pressure, but the wind is coming in from the west. So even though high pressure is building in, it's not building with any real warm air, so it is going to remain, as I said, low 20s, probably at best. And then as we head into Sunday, very similar conditions, and into Monday, we do start to see a bit more of a change, as we do see some more active low pressure moving in with heavier rain in the west, and maybe some heavy blustery showers moving through on Tuesday. So turning a little bit more unsettled, the pressure dropping, you see quite a strong westerly flow, and you see the winds are starting to pick up. You can see, though, over the coming days, the upper air temperatures aren't going to be that warm. You can see still double digits, perhaps in the far south, but most of the time it will be mid to high single digits, and it will be all right, just nothing too special. Now, as we head into Friday, if we look at those afternoon temperatures, as I said, low 20s, maybe actually peaking at 25 or 26 degrees there. So locally could remain warm, but you see the majority of areas are high teens or low 20s, and it will feel fresher. So even where we see 25, 26, it will feel fresher as the humidity will have gone. As we head into Saturday, the big thing you'll notice, those overnight temperatures widely high single digits or the low teens. So much cooler than it's been recently, where temperatures have been in the high teens or even 20 degrees, for example, last weekend into Monday, where it was insanely hot. Now, as we progress into Saturday afternoon, again, temperatures low 20s at best, maybe 23 or 24 in the Far East, but as I said, most 18 to 22. Sunday, we're expecting very similar conditions. Again, low 20s for many. Pleasant, but nothing special. And for Monday, similar picture. Temperatures slightly higher, and that's because we've got a warm sector moving through, so the upper air temperatures climbing a little bit. But as we saw from the live radar, there's rain and cloud around, so it's probably not going to be particularly sunny, and there could be quite a lot of rain pushing in from the west, and on and off rain there is further eastwards. It will also feel muggier. It is going to be a warm sector, so there's always going to be that increase in humidity. So even though the thermometer temperatures here look decent, it probably won't be all too great at the surface. And then finally into Tuesday, a showery day, and you can eventually see fresher air is coming back in from the west as we start to see that low pressure system getting swept away. Now, if we do have a look at the longer range, if we start on the latest GFS, you can see we have got westerly flow at the moment, but any deeper lows are well to our north. We've actually got higher pressure nudging in from the south. As we progress into early next week, we see westerly flows, and then you can see ex-Hurricane Ernesto out in the North Atlantic getting spun up and really fueling that jet stream, and that's where we see some really tight isobars towards the end of next week, and you can see some really quite deep lows moving in from the west, and that stays all the way towards day 10, for eventually we do see something higher pressure dominated, and potentially even warmer or hotter there towards 360 hours or so. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. That's the first time that's kind of cropping up at the end of these runs. So yeah, definitely looking better in the far long term, but at least in the medium term, it is looking pretty unsettled, stormy, temperatures around average. If you compare to the GM, see what that is showing today. Again, a westerly flow pushing in. Doesn't look too terrible this next sort of 3 to 5 days, and then eventually we'll get a lot of activity with Storm Ernesto, and then a really lively system getting fueled by the remnants of Ernesto, and you see the low getting down towards 970, 960 millimars perhaps. It does weaken as it heads over the UK, but still strong winds nonetheless. And then towards day 10, we remain in that westerly flow. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a massively stormy spell, because of course it is mainly fueled by the remnants of Ernesto. So I do think it could go stormy, but probably won't be for more than a few days, maybe 2 to 4 days. I'd highly doubt from the looks of this that it will go for much longer than that, just because this isn't a massive change. It is more the fact of that isolated system temporarily fueling the jet stream. So again, we'll have to keep a very close eye on it, but that looks like the most likely scenario at this stage. No huge storm, no massive impacts from Ernesto directly, but it could just give us a few consecutive pretty deep low pressure systems. Maybe one could liven up as we get nearer the time for sort of late next week. Now, to finish for those medium to longer range runs, we're looking at the latest ECMWF. Again, a westerly flow pushing in. Eventually, Ernesto arriving out in the North Atlantic, and again, really fueling those lows in the Atlantic. By next Friday, look at that, really quite tight isobars, quite a big storm system, and it remains fairly unsettled, with little kinks in the isobars indicating weather fronts and developing lows. So, could be lesser winds towards day 10, but a lot more heavier rain. As if we do put on the precipitation, you can see lots of heavy rain around, even though the main low has exited away, and you see towards day 10 we remain in that westerly flow. Now, to finish by looking at the latest ensembles, again very up and down over the next couple of weeks. You can see precipitation does pick up later next week, and that's in line with that kind of stormy pattern appearing, and you see lots of up and downs in those temperature from the end-drift HPA here, which does give us the indication that it is going to be chopping and changing a lot, and that's typical with low pressure systems moving in. So no real massive trends here. It doesn't look like any overall pattern is going to dominate. Looks like we can see some drier, warmer weather at times, some changeable, fresher conditions, maybe even some stormy conditions as well. Looks very, very varied for the next couple of weeks. And if you just compare to the ECMWF, to be honest, it is broadly very similar. Maybe a bit more above average in that medium range, but very similar with the changeable up and down temperatures and higher precipitation into that final week or so of August. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.